Hey guys, and welcome to the Billy Rickman Show. Today I have a friend of mine who I went to high school with 20 years ago. Haven't spoken in 20 years, but is now a speaker at Salon Growth Con. So I invited him onto the Billy Rickman Show to talk all things salon success. Tune in. This is the Billy Rickman Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Billy Rickman Show podcast. I am joined today by special guest Kristian Tognini from Tognini's. Anybody in the hair industry knows Tognini's. Just been around forever, like insane branding, insane progress, like just everything that any hair salon in the hair industry wants to be. And Kristian is part of the Tognini family. And Kristian and I actually have a bit of a history. We'll get to that in a second. But firstly, let me just welcome you to the podcast. How you doing today, mate?
Mate, I'm awesome. Yourself?
Yeah, really good, really good. And so for you guys who are listening on the podcast or watching the episode on YouTube or wherever you're watching or listening to this, let me just go back a couple of years. So Billy Rickman in 1994, I think it was 94, maybe 94, finished primary school and looked for a high school in Brisbane and ended up at a college in Brisbane, which is, for anyone who's overseas, that's in Queensland, at a high school called St. Lawrence's. And in about year 10, I think it was, I started to get pretty heavy into the soccer team. I made the first 11, and Kristian was heavily involved in the soccer team there as well in St. Lawrence's. So we got to know each other pretty well in the last 2 years of schooling, I think it was. So year 10, 11, and then you graduated a year before me. And once you left, that's when the soccer team really started to get good, I think.
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah.
Sponsors and all sorts of stuff. It must have been just after we won everything when we left, and you guys got it.
I don't even remember that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that.
I'll tell you a little funny story of Billy sitting here talking, and I still think to this day that I'm going to clear my name today. That on our school annual, there was being part of the first team, you got a little pen pick and a little bio written about you. And when the annual came out at the end of 1998, when I finished school, Billy's name was there and his bio was there, but his picture was replaced by another guy that never played in the first 11 called James Mendoza. And I think forever Billy thought it was me that sorted that out, but hand on heart, so mate, it definitely wasn't me, and going to clear that up right now. I have no idea how it actually got there. I think it was just an error from somewhere else.
Well, so I've been carrying a grudge for 20 years, so I'm glad you've cleared that up now. 20-year grudge just gone. I held it for nothing.
There you go.
But we haven't spoken for like, I don't know, 18 years or something like that since we both graduated. Yeah, and I think we just hooked up on Instagram, and then probably about a year ago, I saw you were doing some speaking for Weller. And you were doing something over in New Zealand. I was like, oh, cool. And I was really started to see what you guys were doing, and I never really understood the depth of your business and your brand and how successful you guys were. And then, of course, Salon Growth Con 2019 happened, and I reached out to you and thought, hey, you know what, we're definitely overdue for a beer, and I would love to see all this action, all this entertainment I've been seeing online live on the stage.
Absolutely. Cannot wait for Salon Growth Con. I hope everyone out there's got tickets, and if you're thinking about it, jump on board. There's way more smarter people than me talking at Salon Growth Con, that's for sure. But I'm sure 2 days, nothing's ever been done. Like, I've been in the industry and around the industry since I've been born, and there's been nothing that I've seen that's purely business focused for both hair and beauty industry out there. There's always little bits and pieces. So congrats, mate. I think it's an awesome thing that you're putting on.
Thanks, mate. And speaking of you being a baby, I actually had a phone call with Sandy Chong the other day, and she's obviously the CEO of the Australian Hair Council for people who don't know, and she's one of our speakers as well. And she's like, I saw you've got Kristian as one of your speakers. I was like, yeah. She goes, oh, yeah, I've known Kristian since he was a little toddler running around the salon. And,
all the good things and all the bad things too, I'm sure.
Yeah, mainly bad things.
Mainly, but that's okay.
So look, let's get into the business side of things. Tell us a little bit about Tognini's. Like I said, anyone in the hair industry that I've spoken to knows you. They know your family. They know your business. But people who, I've got a lot of other people who listen to this podcast who are not even in the hair and beauty industry. They're mainly in the health and wellness, but so like gyms and yoga and whatnot. I've also got a lot of the beauty side, so they may not be aware of your business. So tell us a little bit about the business, how it started, who started it, and we'll go into a little bit deeper about how you've been able as a family to maintain that brand and continue your growth. So let's go back a couple of generations. How did it all start?
So it was started by my mum and dad, so Benny and Tracy Tognini. Started in 1987 at a little shop in Rose Arcade in the city in Brisbane. From there, they expanded, it grew the team. Dad won lots of awards in the hair industry. So Australian Hairdresser of the Year, Educator of the Year, and then into World Master of Craft, which is a worldwide hair award in 1995. From there, the team expanded massively, changed locations, moved to Elizabeth Street, and from Brisbane and across the road from the Hilton Hotel, back up on the second level. Massive space, way too much space. There's almost 500 square metres. Had a team of about 40 running up there. From this is 1997, and we stayed up there. We looked at it and went, okay, cool. Let's start another brand, which was called AKA Tognini's, which was purely youth driven. We started that in 2004. Once again in Brisbane, down the valley, and then we decided to change locations out of the city about 10 years ago, and we moved the big flagship into the valley. So we finished up AKA Tognini's a couple of years ago and basically combined the one. So we've got one big flagship store now in Wandoo Street down in the James Street precinct in the valley. So we've got back to about 30 staff now, which is a good. I think 40 is way too many, and having the two locations, they were basically around the corner from each other. So two sets of rent, two teams to run. Kind of didn't make sense, so we've brought everyone back into the home flagship. So that's the sales side of things. We also have got a couple of other businesses that we've taken on, which is probably myself and my brother Jules. So we have Little at the Top, which we branched out and decided to run an education agency about 4 years ago. So at the moment we've got about 10 educators on our books. We run our own classes that we curate. So we have basically fundamentals of hairdressing. We sort of saw that as something that the youth hate going to TAFE in the hairdressing industry. They don't get a lot out of it. So we decided to take the fundamentals, make it really fun, make it connected. From there, we've got. Sorry, it's my phone going off. If you can hear that. Back to that. Sorry about that. So Little Top's expanded. So we're now running classes all through Australia, New Zealand. Jules is actually in the States at the moment, running classes over there. Through Europe last year, and then this year we've got adding a new country onto the bow, which is South Africa, which is very exciting. In June, actually the week after Salon Growth Con. So we'll be heading over there. So that's a massive part for our business as well. That's taken off. It's huge. And then just to add one more thing, just to keep us out of trouble, we started a hair loss company called Joe Blow. The reason for this was we did a bit of research in the market and looked at all the marketing for hair loss products and went, it's boring. It's a 40-year-old guy with a bald spot like on the top of his head. Everyone's wearing white lab coats. It doesn't really hit the market that it should. So the people that are sitting in your chair every day, these guys are young guys. They're, early 20s to sort of 35-year-olds that need the help, but there's no product out there that actually speaks to them. So we've got about 3 years worth of research. We work with it's all Australian made. We work with a lab in Brisbane, the compounding lab that's compounded all of our formulas. And so far so good. We launched in March last year. At the moment, we're selling to about 15 countries worldwide, and we're just about to launch the ladies' version, which is Josie Blow. Hopefully it'll be up and online before Salon Growth Con in June. So it's in the final stages of testing. So yeah, massive.
That is awesome. So let me ask you a question then. So I remember in school that you were, I specifically remember, I'm sure you remember it, that trip we did up to the Sunshine Coast.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I know you drank too much on the beach.
What was that?
I The one that you had too many drinks on the beach, that one.
Yeah, that one, yeah. So I remember in school that you were always a bit of a larrikin, bit of a clown. Always had a smile on your face, and always seemed to be up to no good, but innocent no good. And so when I started to look into your branding, and I saw some of your Instagram stuff, and some of the stuff you were doing when you were leading up to the Weller presentation, and you were doing a few, I think it was with your dad maybe, doing a few silly videos and whatnot. And then recently when you agreed to do Salon Growth Con, you sent through your bio and your branding and things like this. It's all really cheeky, kind of creative, interesting, totally out of the box style of what you see in a lot of places. And so my question, I guess, is how much do you think your personality, and obviously I know a bit about your brothers, how much do you think your personality, the way you've been raised, I guess your DNA in somewhat has helped in the success of your business? And do you think that your ability to stand out from the market has allowed your growth to be so drastic?
Yeah, good question. I think whatever you're doing, you need to just have a look at your ideal customer and target whatever your marketing is to that ideal customer. I guess with all the cheekiness, I look at our ideal customer in terms of if I'm doing something for Weller, for example, like you said, the ideal customer is a hairdresser. So it's your ideal customer is someone that's super creative, normally very cheeky. So whatever you're portraying out to them needs to be the same. I'm not going to stand up there in a suit and tie and come and be super professional and stand behind a lectern and present, because you're not connecting with your ideal customer there. It's like, I don't know, t-shirt that I'm wearing today, Blood, Sweat, Whiskey. I mean, it's about having fun, yeah? It's the same with the salon. The salon's marketing is very different. Like, I mean, we have probably a higher-end clientele, something that's a brand that's been around for a long time now. So the branding for our salon is probably not as cheeky. It's not that you can't get away with it. It's just that my ideal customer for the salon doesn't probably want to see that. And so where we really can be cheeky and have fun and bring that personality out is things like Little Off the Top, where we're targeting hairdressers and we're targeting education and we're trying to make education fun. So if we're not grabbing that customer straight away with what we've got to show, then we're never going to get that customer in, because if we're saying that we're doing all these fundamentals and it's really fun, but we're not portraying that in our marketing, it doesn't match. There's no synergy there for both.
Yeah, I call it business schizophrenia. It's like you have multiple personalities in your business, and it's like, much like if you were to ask a girl, if you met a girl at a coffee shop and you really liked her, and you were talking to her, and wow, we really hit it off, and then you go, let's go for a date, and then you pick her up and you go for a date, and it's just totally the opposite of what you're like, well, there's a total disconnect here, and I don't want to pursue this relationship any further. And I think same in business.
Is that a case study from yourself, Billy?
Oh, look, in early Tinder days. No, I was the person who changed personalities.
But it's so true, really, what you say, and I see it all the time out there. And there's people that jump between, they'll get onto the latest fad and they'll jump between this and jump between that and jump between that, and it's like, stay true to who you are, but know who you are first. Well, I think that's really important, that a lot of people miss opportunities because they, as a business, don't actually know who they are or who they're targeting. And then even if they know who they're targeting, how do I actually go about it and do it? It's not about, if I'm trying to target, customer X, that they need to know about, Y and Z on the other side of the spectrum. They don't want to hear about that. They don't need to know about that. Focus on your ideal customer, and the rest will create a halo effect, and you'll get more.
Yeah, I just couldn't agree more. And even now with the presence of social media, with people doing more Instagram lives and stories, and on Facebook, Snapchat, and places like that, I get a lot of my coaching clients are like, I don't want to do something where my customer might not like it. And my advice always to that is, look, the only thing you can do is be you. Like, you have a business, you have a brand, you have a personality, but don't try and, if your business and brand and who you are is here, don't try to be over here, because eventually people are going to see through it. you're not authentic, you're not genuine, and there's nothing more off-putting than someone who's not authentic and genuine. And so, like, it was so refreshing, actually. Even when your email came through, I even showed a couple of people in my staffing group here and said, check this out. I just love the whole branding of it, and it just reminded me of you at school. And then, like, having this conversation with you now, I'm like, it's just authentic. It's just you, and it makes you want to do business together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, all I know is me. So that's it. That's all you're trying to be. So if it, it doesn't appeal to everyone too, but that's okay. So
yeah.
You. So if you've got, I don't know, for people that are listening out there, if you've got your business and your business is you and you want to attract you, then just be yourself. Be yourself in whatever you like in marketing or whatever you like in branding or whatever, I listened to a lady speak recently in Dublin, and it was fantastic. And she built her salon on her. And I thought, what a great idea. I'm not going to build my salon on me because, I don't, that's not what I'm trying to target. But for her, it was about building a loyal customer base. That was basically her. And the biggest thing that came out of it, and I never looked at it this way, and I thought, what a smart idea, or what a smart way of thinking was that all those little things that everyone has, because everyone has them, little idiosyncrasies, the little bit of weird that you have in you, put it out to the world. So for her thing, she was like a Harry Potter nerd. So she said, with my marketing, in my Instagram posts, once a week, I always put something up about Harry Potter. She goes, I have built, in 2 years, she's gone from just herself to having 25 staff in the States. And she said the amount of clients that come in because of having this little Harry Potter quirk is massive. People relate to it and people feel safe and they come into your space and they can talk about something because that's all the customer wants, especially in a hair and beauty space where there's conversation and you're building rapport. If you can build that rapport before someone walks through your door, how good's that?
Exactly. And so if someone walks in your door,
conversation.
Exactly. Someone walks in your door, and first time they walk in, they go, you know what? It's my first time here, but I just love all your Harry Potter stuff. And then all of a sudden you start talking about Harry Potter. It's just like, I love this place. Why would I ever go anywhere else?
Exactly.
So talking about, because I would consider that what that lady was just talking about in Dublin, I would call that a long-term successful strategy because, like I said, if you're not genuine, not authentic, eventually the wheels will come off. And eventually people will start to see that maybe you're not authentic. And so you guys have been around for 1987, you said. A lot of hair salons would love to know because a lot of hair salons don't make it 12 months. And I say hair salons, but business in general. Yeah. And so obviously you weren't working and cutting hair when you in 1987, but you've been around for that long. What do you think, and I'm sure this is a question that everybody would want me to ask, what is the secret to your long-term success? What has been the secret to being in the industry for 13, 20, 40 years? Is it 40 years?
I think it's 42 years. 42 years this year. 32 years actually, sorry. For us, it's something that has always been drilled into me from my parents, and that is that the business is always based on quality. So whatever we did had to be of quality. So the work that gets presented is quality. The work that you're doing on clients is of quality. The education that you do has to be of quality. Marketing that you put out has to be of quality. Whatever brands that you use inside your business has to be quality. Everything stands for quality. And I think when you have quality within your business, that's where you get longevity. And like you said, you can see straight through something if something's not genuine, but if something's not of quality as well, and people are not relearning to make sure that they're at top of their game, to make sure that quality standard is high, I think that's where businesses fail really quickly as well. Because it's very easy to start a business and go for 5 years and then rest on your laurels. So it's like, once you get to the top, how do you stay there? I think that's a really hard thing to do. So if you're not always educating yourself, always up with new techniques, always up with the latest products, knowing what your customers are doing, where they're going, what they're doing, who they're seeing, and why, that's the secret for us. And I mean, bloody hard work is first and foremost. I mean, we all still work in the salon at some point. So I know mum's back at house most of the days a week. Dad's at the front cutting hair still 3 days a week. Jules is in there 3 days a week. And then I'm in there. I only doing the business side of things, but I'm always in the office every single day. So bloody hard work gets you there as well, but doing it for the right reasons. And I think the other thing that would be very lucky with, and it's not a secret, but it's not someone that's it's not an area that a lot of businesses have, is that we've always had both sides. So when mum and dad were looking after things full time, it was dad was on the floor looking after the floor, looking after quality control out there, looking after clients and the staff. And mum was always on the back end looking after the business and making sure there was quality control with the books and making sure that it was making money. Same now with Jules. He's looking after the floor and looking after clients and who's happening out there. Whereas I'm back of house looking after the business, making sure that the dollars are coming in and where it's all going. And I understand that not every business, whether you're hair, beauty, wellness, has that as well. It's normally, especially in the hair industry, someone gets a great clientele and they build it up and go, okay, I'm going to leave where I am and I'm going to take my clientele and start my little salon without an inkling of business knowledge. So we've been very lucky that we've had both sides all the way through as well. And I do believe that if you've got both sides moving all the way through, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to have longevity as well.
Oh, couldn't agree more. And so on that point then, it's probably a good segue because you said it before, it's hard to get to the top, but even harder to get to stay there. And that's loosely phrased. I can't remember the exact title, but that's basically your title for your presentation, Selling Growth. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So tell me a little bit about that then. So is it going to be just an expansion of what you were just saying then and going into a little bit more detail, or are you going to cover a few other subjects amongst that?
Look, they always cover a few more things. I think if you're going to anything, and I personally, I love going to conferences. It's something that I learn from, but you need to take something away from it. So the things that I'll talk about is making sure that it's practical, that you can take something away from it. You can use it in your business the next day. It's repeatable, so you can continue to use it. I think that's the most important thing without giving too much away. We also have a couple of things that we use within our businesses and we always look at expanding, and that's monetizing our innovation. I know I've written that down somewhere, so we'll look and deep dive into that a little bit too. So if you're a business owner out there that's looking into, it can be as small as looking at a new service, how to actually break that down. So when you launch it to your customers, it's not going to fail. There's a tried true method that we use to make sure that there's an interest there for your customers to use that service, if it's that, or if it's a new business, or if it's a new product line, whatever it may be. There's 9 steps to that success to make sure that you succeed by the end of it as well.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Without getting too much away, I don't want to give you, we want you all. As I said, there's far better people that listen to than me, so.
Well, I've actually heard that when I was telling people that you were going to be speaking, a few people now said, if one year, if Kristian comes back, ask him to bring his whole family on stage as well, because that's an act. It's hilarious.
We've done that a few times. It's awesome. And everyone has something to say. Everyone comes from a different angle of the business. And if Dad gets on a roll, he'll talk for the whole hour and a half anyway, so it's all good.
Pretty much. It'll be like one of those Oscar moments where we just play the music in the background and someone walks on stage to push it on.
We'll be talking, yeah, absolutely. But no, we've done it a few times actually, and it works really well. It's just it's interesting how 4 different heads see things 4 different ways, and then you sort of put all 4 heads together, and something gets spit out, and it kind of works.
And it's probably, you spoke before about making sure in business things are repeatable. That's probably a situation where it probably isn't repeatable because you never quite know what's going to happen when you put the 4 of you on stage.
Correct. Oh, yeah, I don't think it's ever the same thing has ever been repeatable on that, yeah. It's always a new act every time, That's
awesome. All right, man, well, I'm going to wrap it up there. I like to keep my podcast sort of short, sweet, and sharp and full of content and value, but honestly, it has been so awesome catching up with you. I can't wait to actually catch up with you in person. Hopefully before Selling Growth but certainly in June 15, 16 at the Gold Coast Convention Centre. If you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure you go to sellinggrowthcon.com/the-details. You can read all about the information. You can have a look about what Kristian is going to be talking about, even though he's made a point today that he's keeping a lot under wraps. Very secretive, but intriguing nonetheless. But I'm looking forward to hearing you speak anyway.
And I'm looking forward to being there, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. And if you've got any questions, please throw it on to Billy's on through the podcast or the YouTube or Facebook Live and wherever this is going to. And happy to answer some questions through there too. I'm sure Billy will send them on through. So if you've got any more questions and need to know a little bit more, please send them through.
Awesome. So what I'll get you guys to do, if you're listening on the podcast right now, if you're walking your dog or you're, I don't know, on the treadmill at the gym, you're listening to this on the podcast, all I want you to do is take a screenshot of your phone right now and then upload it to Instagram or Stories or Facebook or LinkedIn, Snapchat, wherever you are. Tag me in it. I'll make sure Kristian's tagged in the post as well. And if you have any questions, you can let Kristian know. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you're watching this, please hit the share button right now and tag me in it as well. So and then I'll tag Kristian in it. And if you have any questions, if you want to know how you take a business from 0 to 32 years of success, then Kristian is your man. And if they want to know more about your education and about Joe Blow or Josie Blow, how do they get information about that, Kristian?
Yep, sure. So little off the top. .com you'll give you everything that you need to know education-wise, and joeblow.com.au for all your hair loss needs.
Lovely.
If you're taking a picture as well, guys, make sure it's a Billy's head, not mine. He's a far better looking rooster than me.
If they do, mate, I'll put some filters on it for you, all right?
Thanks, mate. Beautiful.
All right, buddy. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thanks, Kristian, for joining me. It's been so much fun. I can't wait to do this again soon. And I think I'm going to be on your new show, actually. We didn't talk about that. You've got a new show coming out.
We've got a new show starting March 1, actually. It's going to be on a Friday morning through Little Off the Top Facebook Live. It's going to be called the Friday Wrap. So get ready to throw a few shapes with me and Jules, and we'll see you on there as well. I think Billy's coming on the Friday the 22nd. So I look forward to having you on that too.
Can't wait to tune in, buddy. All right, if you've loved this episode, please share it, please tag me, and ask questions of Kristian, ask questions of me. And as always, I'm super grateful for all of your support and for you guys tuning in each and every day. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast. Until then, I'll chat to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, mate.
Hey guys, if you love this video, please make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. And also, if you have not yet got your tickets for Sal and GrowthCon 2019, make sure you do. Go to the link that's in the description below because I do not want you to miss out on this amazing event.